Who gets tired of Times Square? I'm just saying. Huffing it to the Port Authority. Gonna catch a train to Bronx. See if we have a private tour at the Edgar Allan Poe Cottage for Blake.
There we go.
I guess that's just a street.
So I've made it to the Edgar Allan Poe house here, right behind me, in the middle of the city. It's just apartments, residential apartments all around me. But there's the house. Guess that's the front right over there. Still can't really figure out how to get inside. There's people in there right now. There's a locked fence. There's a placard.
What's your name?
Roger.
The first day we got it was like
Where are you visiting from?
Miami.
Oh,
Yeah.
Step right into the car, I'll give you a tweet. And you're with, it's for Fox?
No.
Oh, okay, that would be fun.
No, this is personal.
I got excited.
Sorry.
You're so cute.
We can pretend though.
I just wanted you to know what he's doing, so you feel.
Oh, no, it's fine. I love the media. So welcome to the Edgar Allan Poe Cottage. This is the oldest Poe museum in the United States. It's Poe's last home. He lives here from 1846 until 1849. He dies very mysteriously on the road in Baltimore.
Oh.
Yeah.
We don't like mysterious.
Oh, really? I'm sorry to hear that.
No.
Poe is a very mysterious writer. He invented the detective story.
Oh.
The Murders in the Rue Morgue, and Auguste Dupin is the brilliant pipe-smoking detective.
I have to be honest, I don't know much about him.
Oh, okay. No problem.
He chose to come here. He's into this thing.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, so he chose it.
So Poe is, of course, the master of the short story, of the horror story, great romantic poet. And in his own time, he was famous as a literary critic.
Oh,
he was known as the Tomahawk Man. There's really severe reviews of other writers. If I can still say that.
Oh, okay.
So Poe had come to New York in 1844. He's very nomadic. He's born in Boston. He's orphaned at a very young age. And he's haunted by the deaths of all these women in his life. His mother and several other people. He's moving around the big publishing cities. He comes to New York and he lives in the West Village, but he's moving north. In 1845, he writes The Raven, quote that we know nevermore, which is the acme of his career, and it makes him very famous. He writes it at the Brennan Farm in what is now the Upper West Side. And so you get a sense that the city was the urban part of the city was much smaller than basically Lower Manhattan. It was extended northward at that time.
Can't imagine.
But he comes here in 1846 because his young wife, Virginia, she's only 13 when they married. He was 27, and they were first cousins. She had contracted tuberculosis while they were living in Philadelphia. And the idea was that the clean country air of Fordham would help her recover. So where you came in through those gates in the park there, in Poe's time, that was an apple orchard. Across the street was a forest, and the rest of the area was all farmland.
That sounds delicious.
Yes. And this house, Poe was very famous, but he was very poor. He's one of the first American writers to make money solely through writing, and as a result, he had a very financially straitened life. He was very poor. So this house was built in 1812 by the Valentine family for farm laborers. And Poe paid $100 a year in rent to live here.
Oh, take me back.
And that was nothing even then. Yeah, we ruined your housing. I'm sorry. I apologize. But we don't. I hope you don't beat me up.
We're not violent. It's beautiful.
And so he was, and he came here, and unfortunately it didn't work. His wife died in this next bedroom, and in 1847, aged only 24. Sent kind of Poe into a tailspin, and he died 2 years later, aged only 40.
Jeez.
But he writes some of his best work here, despite his misery. He writes the Cask of Amontillado, which is the great tale of vengeance, where Montresor lures his aristocratic rival Fortunato into the wine cellar, buries him alive, puts chains into the wall, and bricks him in. It's a very, and the great line is, "No one insults me with
You'd
impunity."
like all of that.
Yeah,
I've read it.
What's your favorite story or story?
I mean,
I'm impressed.
I don't really like follow him like hardcore.
Oh, okay.
Just casually.
Okay, no, that's fine. Some people are really hardcore.
Yeah. Oh
They
yeah.
make me
But
nervous.
maybe this will put the fire.
I just like the macabre stuff, you know.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
good.
So.
Very good. Oh, and he writes two of his best love poems here, Ulalume, which is set on a desolate fall day, and the protagonist is following a star that takes him to his dead lover's grave.
Oh.
And when Virginia was buried here, Poe would often lie beside her grave.
Oh. That's
And
rough.
Annabelle Lee, my favorite of his poems, other than The Raven. It was many and many a year ago in a kingdom by the sea that a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabelle Lee. And then Poe talks about a cold wind came out of the cloud, chilling and killing. Is Annabelle Lee to shut her up in the tomb by the side
Wow.
of the sea. Very sad, very moving poetry.
Wow.
And Poe said the death of a beautiful woman is the most poetical topic in the world.
Wow.
And it comes out in the stories too. You know, people are buried alive, people going back to life. So he was very interested, and that was a real fear then, because it did happen. Because it was before they had like the proper embalming.
Right.
What it was like formaldehyde.
You got it.
And people would be buried but still be alive. So talk about great fear at that time, you know, being suffocated.
That's
It's really
crazy.
terrible. And he writes the bells here, which was inspired by the bell tower at what was at a new school called St. John's College, which had opened in 1841. And it was founded by the Catholic Church, and they couldn't get anyone to teach there. So they brought in Jesuit priests from Kentucky, and Poe paid them the dubious compliment of saying they were highly cultivated gentlemen and scholars who smoked, drank, gambled, and never discussed religion. And it becomes Fordham University in the 20th century. So Fordham University is right down the road there.
Interesting.
And so the cottage is actually moved. This is not its original location.
Oh.
I've lured you in here under a false pretense. So if you look across the street, you see where that car is coming?
Yeah.
And there's that white apartment building behind it.
Yeah.
That's where the cottage was originally. And at the turn of the 20th century, they were widening that road, which is called Kingsbridge Road, and the cottage was going to be destroyed. And two very important civic groups, the New York Shakespeare Society and the Bronx Society of the Arts and Sciences, mobilized to save it. And they moved it
Very
here.
good.
Moved it here in 1913. So Poe lived here with Virginia and her mother, his aunt Mariah Clem. She kept house. And unfortunately, she moved. She lived for another 20 years after Poe died. And she sells most of the furniture. But we believe this rocking chair and that mirror on the wall are original pieces,
It's beautiful.
as is Virginia's bed.
Wow.
Those are the only 3 original pieces here?
Yes, I'm
What
sorry.
about that?
No, it's just it's a period piece, meaning this is what it would
Yeah.
look like, but it's not original.
Okay.
But, so you could eat on it if you wanted to. So over here, this is a photograph of the cottage, a daguerreotype that was taken in 1884. It shows it in its original location, and you get a sense of how bucolic and open Fordham was. And standing in front there is Arthur Stoughton, who was the president of the Bronx Society of Arts and Sciences, and mobilized to save the cottage from being destroyed.
That's awesome.
It's very nice. And you have to, it's very interesting to think about what it looked like then.
Yeah.
Before they had these huge apartment houses. And it was and Fordham means like a waiting place between rivers. So we're right in between the Bronx River to the east and the Harlem River to the west.
Nice.
And that's why Poe loved to walk along the banks of the Bronx River. And that's why it's very close. If you're interested, if you have time today, you can go to the Botanical Garden. And the zoo, the Bronx Zoo, is right over there.
Wow.
So this is a good.
Really?
They're really
Is
like
it
high
open
world class.
though?
I think it should be. I'm not certain, but I think it should be.
Oh boy.
But they're like world class, better than Busch Gardens.
I was just at Busch Gardens
No, that's not
like a
Miami,
week ago.
though. That's in Tampa. So
Yeah.
I'm
You
confusing
just
my.
bought the yearly pass.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
good. Behind you in the middle, this is a print of the cottage from 1892, and it depicts it on a dark and stormy night. And this always reminds me of the Gothic quality of Poe's work, particularly the Fall of the House of Usher, where the house is
Very
depicted
nice.
as a living thing, and the deaths of the last 2 members of the Ushers, and their deaths are mirrored in the destruction of the house. And Roderick's
Sounds nice.
sister is buried alive, and she comes out and she's covered in blood. She falls down dead on Roderick, and he dies as well.
I guess this is why you like all this, huh?
Oh yeah.
That's him.
You like the horror?
Oh yeah.
There's a good show on Netflix about Poe, The Fall of the House of Usher. It's like a modern take.
That's about Poe? I didn't
Yeah,
know.
it's inspired by it. It's really.
Did you watch
based-
that?
No,
But
I
you
didn't know.
can.
If you like Mike Flanagan. This is a bust of Poe from 1909 to commemorate his 100th anniversary of his birth, and that shows how he would have dressed, the waistcoat, cravat, jacket. He always viewed himself as a southern gentleman. And this is a replica of his writing desk that's been folded up and taken with him when he traveled. This is a paperweight, a wick trimmer. Silhouette is of Virginia. And
That's cool.
And this is an anthology of American poetry from the 19th century. So Poe was very interested in raising the quality of American work, and he was very much a tastemaker of his time.
You
Well,
see
feel free to ask me
how
questions.
small you see how small those chairs are? Back in the day, people were so much smaller.
Yes, he was 5'8", which was average height for the time. But the reason the ceiling is so low is because they were poor and it was easier to heat.
Oh, nothing wrong with smartness.
No, there isn't. So this is the bed that Virginia died in 1847. Poe only had his cloak from West Point and their tortoiseshell cat, Katerina, to keep her warm. And with tuberculosis, there was this back and forth where people would get sick and then get better again. And Poe wrote that this drove him crazy. His great quote is, "I became insane with long intervals of horrible sanity, waiting for her to die." Very dark. And she was buried first just west of here, and in the 1870s when they were building up the Bronx, they were destroying the cemetery. And Poe's cousin Nelson Poe arranged for her bones to be brought to Baltimore, where they're all buried together.
That's beautiful. I like that.
And this is a theater poster, one act play. It's obviously for Edgar Allan Poe. Poe is very influential on popular culture, horror, science fiction, and any genre you can think of that have elements of those genres. And he wrote The Raven expressly to be read aloud. His mother was an actress, Eliza Poe, and he would read it aloud in your literary salons, and he would for a time he cut this really dashing figure. But he was erratic, and he only gets $10 or $15 for writing The Raven. So that's the legend. He was famous, but very poor in his own time. Sorry about this pipe. You see
This is Roger. He's the tour guide.
Hello.
Blake. It's an incredible tour. Very knowledgeable. And this is
Thank you. That's kind.
yeah. Oh, you're awesome. Really awesome. Edgar Allan Poe's Cottage.
I don't know which camera to look at.
Any of them. I'm just doing, I gotta have some of my own. We're inside of the cottage. He's so cute.
This is the original door here. That's why we keep it boarded up.
That's the original.
Yeah.
Can I touch it?
Oh yeah, sure. Just don't punch it or anything.
You are something.
No, I'm teasing. I'm just joking. Just joking.
Is that the only original door in here, or?
No, most of them are. It's just been a lot of renovation done. Most of them.
And these are like original walls, kind of.
Yeah, the walls are original.
That bed doesn't even look that old, though. That's crazy. Looks like something I'd find at Goodwill.
Yeah, it's been pretty well preserved.
Nice.
Oh, and this shows Poe walking the High Bridge. It's the oldest bridge in New York City, and it connects High Bridge in the Bronx to Washington Heights in Manhattan. And it was built as part of the old Croton Aqueduct system, which connected High Bridge to Washington Heights in Manhattan. Poe also loved to walk along the trail, so the aqueduct ran and there was a trail over it for like pedestrians. Originally it was for security, and it just became a beautiful kind of country-like park. In the middle here is a prospectus from Poe's magazine that he called The Stylist, which at the time of his death he was trying to raise money for, so it was abortive. But he envisioned it as only producing the best of American letters, and it was his lifelong dream to have his own, independent magazine.
But of course.
And this last image is the most famous, iconic image of Poe. It's a photograph taken less than a year before his death. So he's only 39 there, but he doesn't look it. And it's called the Ultima Thule portrait, which transcends a place beyond time or space from his poem Dreamland. And after Virginia died, he had been pursuing various other women. 2 of them kept rejecting him, and he tried to kill himself. And 4 days later, he sits for that photograph. Very sad.
Wow.
I hope you weren't in a good mood before you came here.
Jeez.
Depressing. Casting a gloom
No,
over
but
the day.
I'm learning so much. I knew nothing.
Oh, that's good. I'm very
I
glad
knew
to hear that.
nothing about this man.
And did you drive up?
We were on the train. No, flying.
You flew.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
There's also museums, and he lived in Baltimore and Richmond and Philadelphia, and they all have museums there.
Mm-hmm.
That's easier to get to from Florida. I drove once to Palm Beach, New York.
Yeah, it's a drive.
2 days I did it.
Oh, you're a little
Non-stop.
No, I was at the end though. It's I don't do it anymore because it's not the safest. Because at the end you just
spent.
you just go. I pull out. I pull down 100 miles an hour. Watch out!
Just get me here.
Get the kids on the street. It's very narrow. Watch your step going up here.
Uh-oh, up?
Yeah, we got a second floor.
No way. Oh. Wow. I didn't see that coming. Blake, did you?
No, I had no idea.
So tiny. So what did they do up here?
So this was a sitting room.
Oh boy, it's gonna be rough.
This was his writing room. So Mariah Clem would have brought him hot coffee, and the cat they had, Katerina, would have perched on his shoulder while he wrote.
Aww.
And he writes in here what he thought was his best work, a prose poem about the creation of the universe called Eureka. And it was critically panned at the time. It's kind of very bizarre. But there's a lot of recent attention given to it because it anticipated a lot of the findings of the Big Bang Theory about the creation of the universe out of nothing. So Poe was very interested in science as well, and became a great influence on science fiction. And Jules Verne called him the leader of the cult of the unusual.
Cool.
And this shows the grave in Baltimore where they're all buried together.
Oh, that's nice. I like that. That's a happy ending in the end.
So Poe, remember I said he was traveling, he was trying to raise money for the stylist. So he's in Richmond, he's giving this lecture series. He rekindles a childhood romance he had had with a woman named Elmira Rooster, and she was recently widowed, and she agrees to marry Poe.
Oh, I love it.
On the condition that he clean up his act. But Poe is an alcoholic.
No.
So he joins a temperance society, and he's on his way back here to the cottage in Fordham to settle his affairs, and then moves south to Richmond to live with her. He takes a steamboat to Baltimore. He was supposed to get on the train, but he never gets on the train. He's found outside of Gunner's Hall in Baltimore, wearing clothes that did not fit him, ranting and raving and delirious, and he dies a week after he's found, October 7th, 1849. And no one knows how he died. The most common causes from alcoholism. A recent theory is that he might have had a brain tumor. But the theory that lends credence to why he was found in clothes that didn't fit him is that he might have been the victim of what was called cooping, which was this 19th century voting fraud when these thugs would get people drunk, beat them up, essentially kidnap them, coop them up in a small room, and take them into different polling places, disguised in different clothing to vote over and over again. So it was so Gunners Hall is a polling place, and it was found on election day.
Wow.
But no one knows for sure.
That's so interesting.
It's like one of his stories.
So interesting.
And this shows Poe as a young man working at the Southern Literary Messenger in Virginia as an editor. So yeah, the house is pretty small. I mean, this is the entire house. And this would have been the
Well, this is big enough. Trust me. You have to clean it. It's big enough. If you have to clean the house, it's big enough.
It's true.
I mean, it's beautiful.
And this would have been the bedroom. They would have moved Virginia downstairs when she became very ill. That would have been the
I
answer.
guess you're gonna go up and down the stairs.
No. And it's, you're like...
With the breathing and all of that, and
Look.
weakness and, oh.
And they called it consumption because you would waste away
Yeah.
with tuberculosis.
So, and they have a little fireplace
Yes.
in their bedroom. I think this is divine.
Oh, I'm so glad you liked it.
Do you know where maybe the bed was, or no clue?
Probably there.
Probably, yeah, further, probably like closer to the fireplace, away from the windows. No, I don't. I'm sorry.
No
Well,
worries.
this is a poster. This shows Poe's years, and it has engravings from his houses, from important people in his life, and engravings of things from his stories. So this is Mariah Clem. This is the orangutan who's the killer in the murders in the Rue Morgue. This Frenchman has brought him into Paris, and he escapes, and he kills his mother and daughter. And the brilliant...
Why do you always smile when you say something bad?
I'm sorry.
Sinister.
I'm sorry.
Sinister, you.
This is house in Philadelphia. The Pit and the Pendulum. So I like scaring
It's
people.
amazing.
The Descendant to the Maelstrom. The Row House in Baltimore. The Bells. The Telltale Heart. The Fountain and Museum in Richmond. The Black Cat. Virginia, the Raven, and of course the Cottage here.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Okay, I'll show you the kitchen. Do you have any questions for me?
So he did most of his writing in this room, or all of it?
I would say most of it there, and some downstairs.
Some
At the
downstairs.
table.
Okay. Where it is now, or
Yes,
just
where it is now.
Okay.
He probably moved down there when the wife had it get
All right.
moved downstairs.
That's
Right.
Oh, he really loved her.
He did.
He wasn't trying to get away from her. He wanted
Yeah.
to stick with her. I love it.
So what is this thing right here? Is this
Well,
anything?
that shows portraits of Poe that were taken throughout his life, and also daguerreotypes or photographs. So photography was a new thing in the 1830s. So for the last 10 years or so of his life, we have images of him when he was not as healthy as he was when he was younger, unfortunately.
Okay. Where was the restroom? Was the
We
now
don't
house
have one,
or?
but there's. Do you need to use one or for them?
Well, both.
Oh, both. So they
Well,
would-
I don't need to use them, but she probably does.
No.
They would have had an outhouse.
Oh,
there was
they
no,
had an
yeah,
outhouse.
there was no
So no
electricity.
plumbing.
No-
You guys didn't want
No
to
running
preserve
water.
that house, huh?
They had a well on the property though.
Okay.
No, we didn't.
I'm just trying to figure out how that
Maybe
auntie
should
cooked.
have, but oh, they did have a stove, and they would have.
They
had,
got a stove and they got a
would have
well.
had a well and the fireplace.
I like that. All right, I'm going down
Yeah, watch
very
your-
carefully, because I got
No, the
situations.
bathroom is in. I'll show you more downstairs. But you know that building
The park?
that you saw in the park?
Yeah.
It's like very modern.
I
Yeah,
saw
they have a
somebody
bathroom.
coming out that was.
Do you
cleaning.
mind? That's the tour, right?
In the kitchen, I just.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm probably gonna come back up here.
Oh, you are.
Yeah, if that's possible, just to take
He's
like
gonna
B-roll
film
with,
with his
with my
phone.
phone.
Oh, okay. Do you about how long will you be?
10 minutes.
Oh, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to do it now?
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just do it now. That's fine.
Okay.
Or is that gonna mess up your couch wavelength?
No, that's
no,
fine.
Take your time.
That's
Take
fine.
Your time.
I know how he likes to go.
Oh,
He
should I?
likes to feed and
Should I
then
wait it?
go upstairs.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's very
cool. Very cool.
Oh, so this is the kitchen, obviously, and from all descriptions of visitors we had, they all said that despite their poverty, that Mariah Clem kept everything very neat and tidy and genteel, and they did have some nice Dutch silverware, and at the time they lived here, the cast iron stove was replacing the need to cook over the fireplace. And this stove is from 1853. It was made by the Beebe Iron Works in the South Bronx. And the South Bronx is once a major source of industry. Both the Lincoln Memorial and the Capitol Dome were forged there. So I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you, thank you.
Good footage.
Thank you.
You'll-
So what's behind that door?
It's a tool shed. It was the pantry when they lived here, but it's not historic. When they moved the house, they destroyed the pantry and the cellar. They had to lift it up.
Sure.
And so that was rebuilt. It's not historic. It's very,
It's just a modern.
yeah, it's just a modern. I mean, and that would have been for the fireplace. That's andiron, so that you could move the pots over the fireplace and rotate it.
Okay, so that's just another fireplace.
That's right. Yes.
All right, I'm gonna go on the front porch.
You know what these little,
They're little cupboards. They would have been used for storage. Then.
Very cute.
just like pots and pans or
No.
Oh no!
bowls,
You'd say it's
plates?
like books and gift shop items. Cash box in the other one, but there's no money in it. So.
Okay.
It's very little money. Because I try to do everything on the car.
You know what that is, or
It's just weird, I think.
it's not like lettuce or anything?
No, it's like, it looks like that. What is that? The skunk cabbage?
Yeah,
I'm not sure. It looks like it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry we're looking a little rough.
No. I like it.